Egiro's Love and Pain. In the quiet village of Omim, there lived a young woman named Egiro. She was beautiful, kind, and loved by everyone. She owned a small restaurant where villagers came every day to enjoy her delicious meals. Many men wanted to marry her, but Egiro was happy with her simple life and never thought much about love. One day, a man named Ojaku arrived in Omim. He was charming and hard-working, and he soon became a familiar face at Egiro's restaurant. Unlike the other men who tried to impress her with gifts and words, Ojaku was different. He helped her carry heavy baskets, fixed a broken stool, and listened to her stories. At first, Egiro thought he was just a kind customer. But as time passed, she found herself looking forward to his visits. She felt happy when he was around and missed him when he wasn't. One evening, after a long day, Ojaku stayed behind to help her clean the restaurant. They laughed and talked, and at that moment, Egiro felt something special. She had never thought much about love, but now, she wondered if she had found it. The villagers noticed their closeness and whispered about how they should be together. Then, on the night of the village festival, Ojaku brought Egiro a small bunch of flowers. "Egiro," he said, "I come to your restaurant every day, not just because of the food, but because of you. You are the most wonderful person I have ever met." Egiro felt her heart race. She smiled and took the flowers. "Ojaku, I don't know much about love," she said softly, "but I know I don't want to live without you." The whole village celebrated when they got married. It seemed like a perfect love story. But soon after the wedding, everything changed. Ojaku was no longer the kind man Egiro had fallen in love with. He started treating her badly, shouting at her over small things and making her feel worthless. He stopped helping in the restaurant and demanded that she obey him without question. At first, Egiro thought it was just a bad mood. She told herself things would get better. But as days turned into weeks, Ojaku's behavior only grew worse. He controlled her life, took her earnings, and made her work harder than ever. The villagers noticed that Egiro no longer smiled like before. She looked tired, her once bright eyes filled with sadness. But when they asked her what was wrong, she only said, "I'm fine." One night, after a long day, Egiro sat alone in the empty restaurant, staring at the cold firewood stove. She thought about the happy moments before her marriage, when her life was her own, when she was free. Tears filled her eyes. She realized that the man she had loved was gone. Or maybe, he had never truly existed. With a deep breath, she made a decision. She would not live in misery. She would find a way to take back her life, no matter what it took. One evening, when Ojaku was away drinking with his friends, Egiro took her small bag, the little money she had saved, and slipped out of the house. Mama Nkechi was waiting for her at the edge of the village. "Where will you go?" the old woman asked. "I will start over," Egiro said, her voice steady. "I will build a new life." With one last look at the village she had once loved, Egiro walked away. She traveled to a nearby town where no one knew her. There, she found a small place to stay and started selling food by the roadside. Her cooking was as delicious as ever, and soon, people started coming back every day. With the little money she made, she expanded her business. Before long, she had her own small restaurant again, one that belonged to her alone. One day, as she was serving customers, a familiar voice called her name. She turned and saw Ojaku standing there. For a moment, fear gripped her. But then, she remembered who she was. She was Egiro, strong, independent, and free. Ojaku looked at her, surprised. "You left," he said. "Yes," she replied calmly. "And I'm never coming back." Ojaku tried to beg for forgiveness, but Egiro shook her head. "You had your chance," she said. "Now, I choose myself." And with that, she walked away, her head held high. She had suffered, she had lost, but in the end, she had won. She had found herself.